What's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Let me get that link for LinkedIn. But like I said on Monday, my goal was to get through I think 8 or 9 questions. I only ended up getting past like five, so 3 questions left on my FAQ list. So we're gonna get priority that because I said I would do it yesterday, but to be honest, I did not. I ended up forgetting that I had a speech for my Toastmasters, and I actually had to go prepare for that. So, if you're interested in seeing me speak for 6 to 7 minutes, which kind of live is, but I talked yesterday about why it's so important to have, or there's so many similarities between leadership and project management. So that's super interesting to be able to do that. So today is very simple, answering those 3 other questions, and then I have a couple of thoughts on what I'm seeing in the industry, specifically in regards to content. So I want to get through all of that. So we have a pretty good set of stuff that I want to get through. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything as we go through, I definitely want to answer those. But like I said, let's just keep rocking and rolling. So today we're talking about how does someone create content, or actually the question is, how do I recycle content into a long form of offer? And this could mean basically a handful of different things, right? So what handful could mean is that you have a long form piece of content, and how do I recycle that into smaller ones? There's definitely different avenues that you could take with this. So I want to make sure that we hit on most of the ones I have in mind. So how do I recycle content into long form offer? One of the quickest hacks I have is that you can actually answer questions. So you take your FAQs, your frequently asked questions, and you can take those and eventually put them um, uh, inside of articles. So let me see if I can find that as an example, because I think that there's just a lot of benefit with that. So I can't find one right now. But anyway, most of my articles are questions and answer based pieces of content, right? So at the end of the day, how do I know that X amount of content will work, or what to create? Basically, what I do is I take those questions that I usually get. So in my direct messages or in my pieces of content, I usually get questions around specific topics, like content marketing or digital marketing, or I get questions about a handful of topics that people are interested in. What I basically do is I take those questions and I answer them. So either make a video about them, or text post, and I either send it to that person, and then recycle that piece of content. So if someone asked me, so I got a question today in my direct messages that asked about how do I win the organic game. So I basically answered that question, and I'm going to incorporate that in my content marketing strategy, where I'm going to say, basically take that question. Again, user generated questions are my favorite, right? So definitely, I'm a huge fan of actually soliciting questions from your audience, especially those people you're trying to reach. Because again, like I target small businesses. Some people do small families. Others do real estate developers. Whatever that is, you're gonna have to find that target market, right? That person, and they probably have questions about what you offer, your solution, all that. You want to capitalize on those, because if they have that question, more than likely someone else who looks like them, or a customer segment of them, might have the same question. So what I do is specifically is, what is up, Layla? How are you? You are. I love your content. And by the way, you guys have to go follow her. She is a rock star. Uh, I want to do a live with you at one point. I know Q1 is so busy, so I've been trying to schedule a lot of lives with people. And I apologize if I haven't got to everyone yet. But Q and or lives are, especially between content creators, are always fun. So Layla, let me know if you have free time in your schedule next week or something like that. Let us jump on that. But anyway, like I was saying, your customer segment has a question. So, like I said, I got a question from a small business about how they can win the organic content game. I answered that question, and I'm going to post that. I'm going to post that as a text piece of content and watch how it does. Is it interesting? Does it resonate? If it does, and I see the data with it, I'll take that piece of content, and here, let me actually pull this up because I think there's so much value in it. I don't create long form pieces of content until I have a very, very, very good instinct that they're going to do well. Because again, creating any long form piece of content means that you're investing time that you could be investing somewhere else. And for me, as a marketer, I always try and maximize that. So I posted my most recent article here. Basically, what I did was I got a ton of questions from my clients and a ton of questions from people that look like my clients. And I answered those questions over a month period, right? What I then did was take those questions that did really well and really resonated with my audience, and I compiled them into a longer form article. So the article I listed above is user generated questions that I've vetted and I've performed on. I've seen that they do well, and I've thrown them then into an article. So let me see. I don't know how many. I think there's 12. So there's 12 in this one. So basically, what I did was I took uh, you know, I took basically 40 questions that I get from clients, that I get from prospects, leads, and then just users and friends here on LinkedIn, and I answered those questions. Out of those, about 15 did really well, and I had a good instinct about 12 of them. So that's why I threw them on in this article, because if people are interested in what I offer, then it only makes sense that they have questions. Because again, unless I'm the best marketer in the world, I probably don't have any capability of convincing you the first time I meet you. Where I think the real value comes in is if I can give you all the information that you would need to make the decisions that you need. That's why I create a lot of content around specific topics, because I know that there's no one piece of content that will go, turn someone from a cold lead into a warm lead. I just know that there's a pieces and segments of content that have shown over time that they work best, right? So that's why I do talk about my personal journey. That's why I talk about marketing. That's why I give tips and theories, and I create content the way I do. It is because I know there's not one piece of content that speaks to everyone. So that's just a long story for user-generated questions, FAQs, questions from your clients on sales calls. Make sure you note those, answer them here on LinkedIn organically. Once you do actually post them, see how they do. If you need to tweak them or you have a different instinct or whatnot, fix them and throw that into an article. Do not overcomplicate this. Again, I wrote a book, yes, but I did it with amazing copywriters. Some people don't have those resources, so do what I'm doing right now and just put them in there. By the way, I am loving the insights there. Oh yeah, Joel's awesome. Layla, you are amazing. When someone gets a response from me, whether it's a question or it's worth. Oh, absolutely. So Layla definitely hit the nail on the head there. If you get a question regarding anything, your processes, your offer, your like what's included, you want to capture those, because again, why guess if you know that someone that looks like the person you're trying to reach has that question? Why not just give them the answers that they want and make it easier for them, right? It's much easier than when you jump on a sales call to convert on them, because they've answered, you hit the top line questions, and they've already kind of pre-vetted you and decided to go forward with that. I respect the way you're doing, bringing to the table here, just like, oh, honestly, you are so sweet. By the way, guys, the questions I always, so someone actually asked me this, why I do what I do, and yes, I do have a company that specializes in marketing and all that fun stuff. That's great and everything, but I do it because I get to just interact with so many great people, especially small businesses, because again, like, that's so amazing. Anton, what is up? Layla, I can't wait. So I will send you a message at the end of this. Let me just open up your profile so I don't forget. But yeah, that's kind of the first question. So the second question, for anyone who watches later, let me drop that question in. By the way, how's everyone's Wednesday? Hopefully fantastic. I was direct messaging someone and said it was Thursday, so you can tell where my head's been the last couple of days. Obviously, I think it's a little hit. Have any digital media sites greatly improved your life? If yes, how? This one was interesting, right? So the reason I brought this one up in when I was finding questions was, honestly, there is not. So for context, and people who haven't been following me for a while, I got my start on a social media platform called Vero, Vero, about 2.5 years ago. It was starting to pop within the college scene, and I started posting on there. I think this was, uh, August August, September of last year. So I started posting on there, and I got connected, and that's where I really learned how to do a lot of direct messaging and social media management. Then I started doing a lot on Instagram with the first company I had, PackPack, and then it wasn't until LinkedIn that everything exponentially grew. So as soon as I got into LinkedIn, I found my tribe. I found the people I wanted to reach, and I just found uh, the questions that resonated for me. Because when I was on these other platforms, I was posting content, I was engaging in the community, but there wasn't a click. So the one that dramatically changed it for me was LinkedIn, because I found my tribe, I found my voice, and I ultimately found a career within it. But I needed to go through the Instagram, direct messaging hundreds and hundreds of people. And that's how I got started in marketing. I directly messaged CEOs through Instagram, and then through Vero, learning how to find my voice and whatnot. So I needed to go through all those specific steps to get where I am today. So there's not one that dramatically changed, or if I had to answer, it was LinkedIn that dramatically changed it for me. But I needed to go through both Instagram and Vero to get to the topic at hand. What is up, Carolyn? How are you? So many great friends here today. I love it. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, let me know, because I am at the end. Otherwise, I'll just go in core and grab a couple more because I want to maximize everyone's time here. So what are key marketing metrics? Ooh, data. KPIs, key performing indicators. There's so many terms that you can go with it, but really when I go and consult with someone, or I'm sitting there with the client, or even when I'm talking to someone and they're just trying to get into digital media, the metrics always comes into play, because people are like, oh, my likes and comments are down. And I go and look at their data, and I see, yes, their likes and comments are down, but their profile views are significantly up, and the people converting from their profiles to their websites are up. And then you're like, well, there seems to be no correlation. To me, there's only a couple metrics that really matter. Number one, it's people go. So we're talking digital, we're talking social media. The metric that I look for is how many people are actually going from social to a website. Because again, my theory on this is digital imperialism. You own your website, you do not own these platforms. There's a very real chance that one day I can wake up and my whole LinkedIn is wiped, all the content I've ever created and all that fun stuff could be completely gone, right? That's just a fact. And this is true for every single content creator. That's why we work so hard to be unilateral and go across the board with our content and our groups. And that's really why I think so many of us build email lists. But really, at the end of the day, we want to convert people to our websites. And that's the metric I look for. Are people going to my websites? And then the website, there's other metrics, like are people converting at the end of the day? But each company is different. The one metric I will throw in there, and then I will get to Layla's question, which is amazing. I'm glad you're throwing in questions there. The one metric I look for is conversations. And it's very hard to measure a conversation based on content. So like, if I put out content, if I don't get any questions about that, is that impactful? Again, you have to figure this out for yourself. For me, there are so many people, and today this happened again, so I have to bring it up. I got a message from a CEO here in Phoenix that wants to meet up next week to talk, potentially about hiring me in. And it's interesting because I have not had one interaction with this person prior to this conversation we had today through direct messages, right? Which is interesting because they've probably seen my content, and they might be seeing it right now, but they haven't engaged with it yet. They've become, we had a conversation, and now I'm meeting with them next week. So how do you measure that? I don't know 100%, but what I do know is, what is that metric that makes the most sense for you? Sales is a great one. Website visitors, going from social to website, is a good one. But really figure out what that means for you. So that is awesome. But I know you just got started. Try getting in when it started. It's finished, but I know. Chad, let me know if you still want to jump here, and I can send you files later. Chad, let me know. So you're still in here. If you listen, I don't know what format you typically go with, but if you want to do the podcast, so for context, everyone, Chad hit me up. He asked if I wanted to be on his podcast. I said sure, but I had to make sure I got here on this LinkedIn Live. So, Chad, let me know if you want to do it here, and just ask. I can put you inside of the live, and if you want to do the Q&A here live, we can do that, or we can take this offline. So let me know what you want to do. Layla, let's get to some of those questions real quick. What should influencers know about picking brands to align with on LinkedIn? That's a really good question. So what should influencers, so I like talking about that because I usually focus on the business side. So let's go to the influencers. So influencers need to understand that they have one of the biggest commodities and most important commodities in the world, which is attention. Brands, businesses will pay out the hoo-ha to get whatever they have, that solution, that message, that whatever they have in front of the target market. And influencers command so much authority, right? So I want people to understand who are influencers. And by the way, if influencers get a bad rap, and the truth is anyone who commands any type of authority in a specific segment or group, that's an influencer. So this could be a mother who's a PTO mom who has so much respect from her community, right? If she says we're going with Apple Jacks and not Cinnamon Toast Crunch, we go with Apple Jacks. You know what I'm saying? So influencers need to understand that they have a not an obligation, because they really don't have a obligation. Don't have access to LinkedIn Live, but I can do Q&A here. No, I will send you Chad, let me send you a link real quick. I'll put that in LinkedIn. So just look at your messages real quick. But what I was saying about influence, especially, is that it can mean so many things, right? So influencer wanting to work with a brand, make sure that you know that you just have so much authority, right? You just have so much authority, and you have worked hard for it. So make sure if you take any brand endorsement, you believe in it, because you do not want to lose that trust with your community, right? So that's the truth there. So Layla, let's see if I can get to one more question before Chad jumps on here. Let us see. Who will you absolutely not work with? This is really good. So like I've said in the past, I work with small businesses. The people I don't work with are people who, and you can usually find this out after a couple of minutes of talking with someone, but really, if I sit down with someone and I can tell within the first 3 to 4 to 5 minutes that they are, number one, not receptive to what I'm saying. So I'll be honest, there's not a lot of people I don't like to work with. My content and usually what I put out there defers a lot of people and really pushes people who are on the edge and might not be the best clients for me out, because they see my personality. So I'm a very high energy. Like I call clients on the weekends if I have any questions or anything, because I don't want to postpone them and their success. So the people I don't work with are people who have a closed mind, and really people who just, you could tell they're just doing this to do this, right? If I get the vibe from someone that they are just not and just doing it because they have mandatory obligation to do it and they're not bought into it, because I just think of digital communication as a tool, right? Is a tool. And if you don't believe that the tool that you have is going to work, then you can't put money behind someone trying to convince you if you don't yourself believe in that. Having trouble. Let's just see where Chad went. Let's see what is going on. I think the rise of micro influencers is interesting. I heard a lot of followers. Yeah, micro influencers. I think most people everyone in here are actually micro influencers, if you really consider like what a micro influencer is, right? So okay, Chad, let's see. So we're doing this live. So I'm going to see if I can access it directly from mine. So when I sent you the link, all you have to do was click on that, and it should say enter and display name, and then enter broadcast studio. Do you see that? If not, let me know, because I can jump off and help you with that if you need that. So let me see. I checked the link. It should work. Yeah, like I said, just tap on that link I sent you, and then we should be on our way with that. So while he's getting that, I feel influenced. Oh, you are so sweet. Well, everyone here really influences everyone, right? That's the truth about the matter is I can say one thing about so hypothetically, take this micro influencer topic, right? We can talk about micro influencers, and that might get someone to say, "Okay, I'll consider it," right? Like I'll go look into what that is, and they might not make a decision for the next 6 months, but eventually they're like, "Wow, I'm sold on micro influencers. Let's put some money behind it and test this thing out." Does that mean that we had a successful, did that mean that we influenced that decision? I mean, kind of, right? I think that's the only thing I have about influencers, which makes it very difficult, is at the end of the day, uh, they are really great at brand awareness. Direct sales related to that, again, I wouldn't. It's not like they can't do it because if Kylie Jenner hops on there and posts something about something she's doing, she will get a massive influx of people going there. But for the average person, can a influencer directly go to translate sales? Yes, they can. But what is the value that the people that they bring that might be 3, 4, 5 months away from purchasing, but eventually do purchase, right? So you can't. It's very hard to put a metric behind that. Much like advertisement, right? Advertisement campaign successful if it doesn't convert, bring the sales in, but it has a long tail effect? Like that's the question you have to ask, right? So um, let us see. I might have to jump off for a quick second, team, so I can help Chad doing here because I would love to do a podcast live, and he's awesome for wanting to jump in there. Let's see if there's a new link I can send. Let's see if that works. I would love to get everyone's insights on what they think about podcasts. I think it's a great new medium to go through, but let's see it in the chat. It's in your DMs. Chad, it's in your direct message because if I give that link, anyone can join. Not that I don't want anyone to join. We'll definitely do that at one point, but we want to keep this nice and consistent today. So while Chad's coming in, I think Layla has one more question, which is amazing. By the way, if you guys have questions for me or when Chad jumps on for the podcast, let me know. That's awesome. I love that. The Nico Nichols. Oh no, I don't see that question. I refreshed my page, so I can't see the question. But regardless, let's see. That should have worked. Did not, but it's okay. The question I actually do get quite a bit, I think could lend a lot of expertise, or that I can lend a little bit of expertise to, is how to get started. And the truth is, because there's some people in here, I'm not going to call them out, but they are amazing entrepreneurs here in the Valley that have come to me and said they don't know where to start. And this is the one avenue that I want to create a lot more clarity around, a lot more content around, because I want people to get started, because I know if you get started, there's a threshold. Most people will get started, they go yes, and then a lot of people fall and don't really, after a while they don't execute, right? But there's anomalies. I want to consider myself one because I started creating content on a 30-day video challenge in October of 2018, and I've been creating every single day since then, and now we're up to 4 or 5 times a day, which seems astronomical, but if you really think about it, it's just building it up and getting comfortable with it, right? So, but I attribute a lot of my success to as a content creator to Mark Metry for getting me going with the 30-day video challenge. So I'm always looking at ways to do that for other people because there's this natural progression that you have to go through. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, but after you break that barrier, I was posting twice a day, once in the morning and one in the evening in June, and I was thinking to myself, like, I can do a lot more. I know I can do 4 times a day. I know I can do 5 times a day, just because I have so much content in the back end. And there was this little piece of me that was like, just don't do it. People won't find it interesting. And eventually I just broke through the noise, and now I'm creating a lot, and it's exponentially helped my business, helped my speaking career, has helped me in so many facets of my life. And again, there like I said in the beginning, there's no one piece of content that has dramatically increased it. I've had a couple of posts go viral. I mean, law of averages, if you post every single day, even 5 times a day, you're probably going to hit on a couple of viral posts just based on the law of averages. But really, it's just been a progression. Some people find out about me, refer people to my business. Some people find me, refer me friends. A lot of the people here, I mean, Carolyn, I met online or offline, and we've become friends. But Chad, for instance, have never met him yet. I feel perfectly connected to him. Layla is a perfect example of this, because I've seen her content ever since I really got started in October of 2018. Anton, never met him before, but I feel every time I see him, I'm just happy, right? So there's so many people here, and looking at the Jabbar, who's here too. Like I've just interacted with so many people offline, that I feel so connected to him. Let's see if this works. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Let us see. You are backstage. Okay, Chad, I am backstage, it seems. Let's see if this works. Otherwise, we will continue. We'll just rock on. We'll rock it and roll. So anyway, let's see. I haven't done this in a while. Let's just see. Okay, while we get this set up, let's see, what else do I have on the back end? While I have everyone here, let us grab some other questions. Ooh, here, I found one, guys. I found one, which is, dun, 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 what is more effective than YouTube marketing? Okay, YouTube marketing is, so there's no question. So I'm going to geek out for a second. I did not know, and I'm pretty sure I haven't. I think I've verified this in the past, but YouTube used to start as an online dating platform, a video dating platform, and eventually they cut all the dating part out, and switch over to a video sharing website. It was bought by Google, and now is really considered the second biggest search engine in the world. It goes Google and then YouTube, right? RIP Bing for not being on there. But anyway, long story short, YouTube, in my research, and again, I've done very minimal advertisements on YouTube, but from what I've seen, what's more effective than YouTube marketing is the thing I tell everyone, which is there's probably, right, in retrospect, there's probably a platform that's more beneficial for you than anyone else, right? For instance, for small businesses, LinkedIn is a pretty good way to communicate with them, but it's not the best, right? I would say I still argue that Facebook is one of the better platforms. Instagram's a great platform. LinkedIn's a really good platform, but might not be the best. So the most effective platform for you is the one that your customers are most on and engaging the most with. So if you're marketing to, firefighters, potentially LinkedIn might not be the place where they spend a lot of their extra time, but it might be a great place for their bosses, right? So you have to put into context the people that you're marketing to and the context that they're on online. So firefighters probably do have a LinkedIn account. Are they visiting it? I don't have that data, but if you're trying to sell to them, or sell to the person who makes decisions, I think they're commanders, right? Like, you want to figure out where that is. So when I work with the client, when I talk to anyone really, and they ask, is LinkedIn the best for me? I say probably, because I just don't know, right? Like, you have to do a deep dive into the person that you're trying to reach, right? It could be the best or the worst place. That's why I believe in the 70-20-10 rule, right? 70% of your time should go to a platform that's working today. For me, that's LinkedIn. I'm actually finding a lot of small businesses on here. 20%, we're actually migrating a lot of our content onto YouTube, and then driving people from Facebook onto our YouTube channel. And then 10% should be exploratory. That's why I do a lot of these lives. I snip them up and I do turn them into pieces of content for podcasts, stuff like that. So there is a lot of benefit to different platforms. So for me, when I work with anyone, is figure out which one would make the most sense for you. There he is. Okay, so I'm actually gonna log off on here and then jump on Chad's live stream. So yes, Chad, I am looking at you right now. So let me know if you. I'm backstage on yours, so let me know if you want me to jump off on mine. But let's figure this thing out. So I'm going to actually pause it here. If we end up doing it on mine, I will jump back on here, and we can do it here. But I will let everyone know. Awesome. So I'm going to pause it here, and otherwise, I'll see everyone tomorrow.